All right. We are live. It is a reunion. It is a party. TFE Rewind. Excited to have everyone here. We have just been inundated with questions since we've returned from Antarctica. A lot of these questions go to me, and I don't necessarily have answers. And so thought it would be a good idea to get everybody together again for a bit of a TFE reunion. And most importantly, to allow the audience, everybody who's been following this for a year now, to get your questions answered. So it's been nothing short of crazy and wild since we went to Antarctica. And the fun just doesn't seem to stop. So every day for me, something new pops up, and I'm just kind of rolling with it. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride. So a couple of things. I'm gonna bring everybody on here in a second. I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to spend a few minutes just talking about any final thoughts they have on the trip, but most importantly, give some updates. After the dust has settled, after we're all kind of back home and now dealing with whatever we're dealing with in our own spheres of influence. And I just think everybody's going to want to kind of know where everyone is at. Also, after each participant gives an update, we're going to go straight to a Q&A session. I will be creating a special Q&A through YouTube. So when that pops up, you guys will be able to ask questions in there. And those are the questions that I will be asking of the participants. Here's all I ask is that you address your question to an individual. So to just one person. If you say, oh, I have this question for everybody, that could take a half an hour for everybody to go through and answer. So here's the format I'd like you to do is to just put a capital Q, the number 4, and then the name of the person you'd like to ask the question of. So Q for Dave, Q for Jonathan, Q for Mark. If you want, you can abbreviate. So for Critical Think, you can just put CT. For Jonathan Morandi, you could put JM, whatever you want to do. So anyway, the most important thing here is that this is probably going to be the last time that we're all together here, and probably the last time you're going to have an opportunity to ask questions, get them answered, and just kind of hear from all of us. So I am noticing some names in the chat, which are just making me chuckle. I just saw King Nico, and I think King Nico has definitely brought a smile to all of our faces since we've been back. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and pull everyone up here. I do need to state that I do not know where Austin is. So Austin Whitsitt is currently MIA. People actually told me that they were predicting that he would not show, which is interesting. I don't understand always where these predictions come from, but when they're right, it tells me that maybe they know something that I don't, or are onto something. So anyway, not sure where Austin is. You'll also notice Lisbeth is not here either. She just messaged me just a little bit ago and said that she was kind of stuck at work. So I think she's going to try to join if she can kind of get out of her work stuff. So this is who we have right now. And I'm going to go ahead and start by turning it over to Jonathan. I'm going to let Jonathan spend a few minutes just kind of giving everybody an update. There's been a lot of people who are asking about the documentary. I have no answers on that. I've had very little to no involvement in the documentary so far. So Jonathan, let us know how things have been going for you, and everyone's excited to hear from you.
up? Thanks, Will. Hi, everybody. I hope this isn't the last time we're all getting together. What a somber note to start on. I hope that there'll be more. Uh, Documentary is going really well. An update where I guess we're in the seventh week now, and I had earlier made some announcement that it'd probably be an 8-week process. It's looking like it's going to take a little bit longer than that. It's turned into well, it's grown legs. It's become very compelling. I feel like the story we set out to do was it's something that evolved, and as you're shooting and you're in the process of being there, it's a totally different experience than coming back and watching the footage and having time to go through the interviews and to kind of search the internet and find people's inputs on the trip has been fascinating. Joining on some live streams on X and on TikTok has been a blast. So yeah, it's got legs. It's on its way now, and I hope that will be seeing a rough cut by this weekend, which is really exciting that we're at that point. Um, I think a lot of people ask me as a flat earther quite often, what's your take? What's your stance? And I'll just kind of continue to reiterate that I think the documentary will speak for that in a lot of ways. I am being as non-biased as possible. I just want to present people's thoughts, observations, different schools of thoughts on what got us to this point. So I think it's going to be very, very good, very exciting to watch. And I'd love to get together with everyone and watch it when we're done with it, which is why I think this is probably not the last time we're meeting, but who knows? I know Critical Think's got a long commute, as well as Dave. But otherwise, it's been a ton of fun. I've loved getting to know so many different people in the live stream communities. Um, it's been a hoot. Not too much to say on that at this point, but I think too in a couple weeks we should have a trailer. Don't quote me. I know a lot of people will, but we've cut a couple of small teasers and things that are they're really good. It's really funny. There's a lot of like gentle moments and a lot of profound moments. I think with just being human and going on a trip like this.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan, for that update. I know everybody is super excited about the documentary. I'm super excited about the documentary. So I know you guys are doing great work. So really appreciate that. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Herman. Everybody remembers Mark is the director for Candace Owens. Mark, I get a lot of questions asking about Candace. And so if you could kind of give us an update on your life and maybe an update on where she's at, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be a part of this. It's been crazy since getting back. I've done some videos on my YouTube channel, kind of explaining it. I've also posted some unedited 360 videos that I shot down in Antarctica to help put more evidence out there into the world. As a conspiracy theorist myself, it's very interesting to be on the opposite side of a conspiracy theory. So that's definitely been a pretty interesting experience thus far. As far as Candace, I presented my findings to her. I showed her videos that I've taken and told her that the sun did not set while I was down there. We've been trying for a while to get an on-air discussion between Austin and McToon. It didn't work out before the trip. And now after the trip, we've been a little bit busy fighting the governments of Australia and now France. I don't know if anyone's been keeping up with that. So our plate's pretty full. I do raise it pretty frequently that we should do an update on this and we should have that discussion, and that's definitely still in the cards. But yeah, it's been a really exciting experience to be a part of, and I'm very, very thankful that I was able to join you guys down there. And I've got some new friends, and I've got some new conspiracy theories about me and an AI version of me playing hockey with penguins. So what more could a guy ask for?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, the AI video is a wild one for sure. That one caught me off guard a little bit, but I do love creativity. Can't say I understand it, but it is creative. I will give them that. Speaking of the governments of Australia, let's go ahead and head down under and hear from Critical Think. CT, how are you?
Yes, we're great. I do spend time in Australia, but right now I'm in Thailand. I do spend some time in Thailand as well. And ever since this excellent adventure that was the final experiment, I have been busy making videos to document parts of the my parts of the experiment and dealing with the southern flight paths because I took the QF-27 to QF-28. I haven't finished documenting everything about that, but I'm using that material to debunk whatever the flat earthers have said about southern flight paths. And I got some intense personal issues happening, which has interrupted my video making for the moment, but I think that's soon to be resolved. So my main focus is just to keep documenting, keep debunking, and I will forever remember this final experiment, and maybe I'll go back there again one day.
Awesome. Yes, if you go back, please invite me to join you. I would definitely come with you. Speaking of your flights, the QF-27, QF-28, I do think it's important to point out that for a very long time, flat earthers stated that that flight was fake, that it didn't exist, that if you got on that flight, it would either be canceled or it would be rerouted through the Northern Hemisphere. But the reality is that is not true. And there was actually a flat earther that believed that up until the day you were going to take the flight, which is our friend Steve from England. He offered you, I think, $500 to prove that that flight was real, including filming it, getting on the plane, filming the flight, and getting off the plane. And I'm going to give Steve from England some credit. He admitted he was wrong and he paid you. So that is awesome. But yes, Southern Hemisphere flights are a huge problem for flat Earth and a really strong evidence for the globe. It looks like MC Toon is still working on his camera. So Dave, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to you, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, Will. Well, I think for me, since getting back, it's not a case of the dust has settled for me. I think the dust has kicked up even more since getting back, with the amount of various conspiracies that people have been throwing out around there. I mean, I know Nico's in the chat. I've got my left boot right here for you, Nico. I hope that this isn't the last time that we're all together. I'd love to do a 10-year reunion in the Las Vegas sphere. I think that would be great for everybody. But in all seriousness, I think, yeah, since getting back, it's just been even more chaotic for me than being in Antarctica. Actually, being there was probably the calmest it's been in the past 2 months for me. But getting back has just been videos. I've now started doing live streams. People have been asking about the pictures and the videos and stuff. I've gone through most of them. Every now and again, I just end up going back through some of the stuff and finding something that I forgot because there's so much stuff. So yeah, it's carnage since I got back. It's still carnage now. There's still a dozen more videos, and every time I put one video out, it just kicks up some more dust that then leads to another video and another video. So who knows? I might still be doing this in the 10-year reunion anyway.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, definitely check out Dave McKeegan's video from today. It's an argument that I had not heard. And again, nothing really surprises me at this point, but there was some flat earthers arguing that the sun that we witnessed in Antarctica was actually going in the wrong direction. So that was an interesting one to listen to. All right. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Jiren. As you guys probably already know, he is the most popular creator on YouTube. He is the most loved creator on YouTube right now. He's getting zero hate. Jiren, how's it going? You're muted.
Here we go. All right. Doing awesome. Thank you. No, the trip was awesome. I can't wait to have a 10-year reunion. If someone's going to buy me my way, then I'll definitely be down for that. But no, it was a good time. And I guess since getting back, the most surprising thing has just been what I've seen from other people, I guess, more than what I've seen from myself. I think that I've done what you should do, which is just be honest and to, report exactly what you saw is what I promised to do. So to see other people, there's like sayings of how do you know your true friends, or how do you know when you have, how do you know if a friend's true? And, when I look at it through that lens, it's been quite interesting to say, for a lack of a better word. It's just been surprising. People that I thought that I would kind of know for life, or that would be friends for life, they must feel differently, or they must think that, I think one of the things that they say is like accepting, if somebody's a real friend, then they're accepting of you, no matter your beliefs, no matter your, and there's no part of me that thought, oh, if I change my beliefs, then I'm not going to be accepted by these people, or that I thought were friends, right? I can understand if somebody I've never met you and you just watch my channel occasionally, but people that I've met in person and people that know who I am, that's been the most surprising thing. So besides that, it's been great to kind of get to know all you guys, and that's about it for me.
Awesome. I want to plug Jiren's new show, Friday Unplugged, which is every Friday. I've actually been watching his shows, and they're entertaining. They're actually educational, and I've been really enjoying it. He has been filming SpaceX launches that are in California, because he lives in California. So that's been cool to watch. Those launches caused Flat Earth Dave to magically invent 20,000 foot tall clouds that just so happen to be present at every SpaceX launch. But if that doesn't make sense, you can go ahead and just watch Jiren's videos. Looks like MC Toon has his camera going, and so we're glad to have you here. It looks like you're in somewhere warm.
I am. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
All right. Yes, I'm in Gulf Shores right now, southern Alabama. So I think it's a little blurry. Hold on. Maybe not. Anyway, yeah, there you go. It's not like this in Minnesota. So it's been all go. Like Dave said, it's been all go for me. I thought by now I would have had gone through multiple days of the video. Of the trip. So far I've posted one day, and it was like the most basic video I've ever done. This day 2, I'm like, holy cow. It starts out with one of the experiments already being done on day 2, like waking up in the morning. And so I'm working on that particular video right now. But not right now. I'm on vacation right now. So for me, the most fun has probably been watching the flat earthers lie about whether or not we went. And of course, we all know we went. And the lies that they've made up are very telling, that they have to, in their desperation, invent all sorts of things that they could just go test themselves. The trip we took is free to anybody, to not free as in money, free as in you're free to go. And so anybody that thinks it's not real, you can go. And I've offered multiple times to those that think that it wasn't real to pay for their trip, actually to pay $100,000 to them. Of course, then if the sun sets, they get that $100,000. But if the sun doesn't set and it circles for 24 hours a day, then I get their $100,000. And all these people that were so certain, so absolutely certain that the sun did set, or that it was all faked, or that whatever they think it was, suddenly, for some reason, they run away scared. Every single one of them is the biggest coward ever. As soon as I say, well, $100,000 could be yours if you're right, suddenly they know they're wrong, but they won't say it. But their actions tell us that they know they're wrong, because I would instantly accept $100,000 for something I'm certain about. But they make the craziest excuses. So that for me has been, I think, the most fun, just watching them squirm and squeal and run away like chickens. So other than that, I've got a whole bunch of stuff planned for the videos, and just the backlog of stuff is getting longer every day. So that's it.
Awesome. Thanks for that update. And it makes me think of something. So I've been watching, flat earthers and everyone really on the trip trying to convince people that we actually went to Antarctica. I know I've heard and I've seen a little bit of Austin having a hard time convincing his fans and his followers that he actually went there. And it made me think of something very interesting. There is a very big difference between the final experiment and the moon landing. There's a similarity and a difference, and it's super fascinating. The similarity is the same arguments that are being used against everybody that went to Antarctica are very similar to what are used against the moon landing. And so the biggest difference, though, which I am personally proud of, is this. When they were trying to get to the moon, they never thought about flat Earth. No one was talking about flat Earth. It wasn't on their mind. And so when they get back and down the road, however many years later, when flat earthers start asking them questions, they're going to be speechless because it's like, how do you answer that question? Whereas we were prepared. So a lot of us, especially, MC Toon and Dave, have been in this space for so long. We were ready and we were prepared for how flat earthers think, their conspiratorial minds, the types of arguments they use. And so we used that to be proactive and said, okay, they're probably going to say this, so we will do this. They're probably going to do this, so we will do this. And so the post Antarctica trip has really just been them throwing one thing at us at a time, and then we quickly, immediately have something to debunk what they're throwing out. And so that is the main difference when you go into something like we did, knowing that they're going to try to poke holes in it every which way. You can actually be prepared for that, which is something that they didn't do with the moon landing. So that's a fascinating thing. And I'm super excited. There's not much that I have since I've been back thought, man, I wish we would have done that, or I didn't think about that. This was a very collective expedition we went on together, and it was minds coming together, which multiplied the thought process, and everybody had incredible ideas. And so we all just kind of really did work as a team to make everything go off very smoothly. So I'm happy. It was a trip of a lifetime. Again, not only did we make friends with each other, I've just made so many friends getting into the world of flat Earth versus globe. So I actually have friends now all over the world. It's fascinating. I've given up, but I used to try to think, where do they live? What time zone are they in before sending them a message? And now I'm just like, they'll get it when they wake up if they're sleeping. So anyway, it's been an incredible journey. So now we're going to switch to Q&A, and I'm going to start a Q&A, which you should see on your side. So give me 1 second here. And when I start this, please use the format capital Q, the number 4, and then the name of who you're asking the question of. Ask your questions of just one person so that we can get through all of these and this doesn't turn into something that takes hours and hours and hours. Okay, so let me type something in real quick and we should be good to go. All right. Okay, cool. I just started it. So you should see a Q&A on your end on YouTube, and I will go ahead and handle these questions as they come in. Let me make sure I can see. Hey, Jiren, I should just see it in the pop-out. Oh, you're muted again. There we go. Oh, okay.
You got it?
All right, I can see him. I can see him. First question is for Jonathan, which is, where can I get that TFE patch?
You'll just have to DM me. We're going to do a limited run. They're going to be iron-on, really efficient. This is just a prototype. Still working on the design, still working on the adhesive, but send me a DM. We'll get you set up.
Awesome. Okay, Jiren, I don't know if this is an inside joke or something, but someone asks if chicken is your favorite ramen flavor, or will you never have it again?
No, it's always the Apollo, Apollo.
Awesome.
Definitely my favorite.
All right. Someone's asking me, they said, if I declare myself flat earther today, would you take me to Antarctica for the next final experiment? That is definitely funny, but I've heard that one so many times now. There is no plans for a next final experiment at this point. Question for MC Toon. Why isn't McFlatty on the call? You're muted.
Yeah, McFlatty hasn't returned yet. Last I saw, he was on a plane somewhere, returning from somewhere. I don't know. His mom is very concerned. I mean, not very concerned. She's resting easily these days.
All right. Let's see. Bird Dog has a question for Jiren, which is asking if you and Austin have had a falling out.
Nope, not that I know of. We've talked. We are in communications. So no, not that I know of.
Awesome. All right. So Swalla from Australia has a question for Rusty, which is rough. So,
I'll bring Rusty up. He can answer it.
there you go. All right. I guess the answer is no. All right. So Hugh has a question for CT, which is, how does it feel to be a legend?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. This is legendary. I'm a legend, and you will see more evidence of the legendary CT coming up.
Awesome. All right, let's see here. Okay, so Pappy asks me, is your friend that got you interested in this topic in the first place still a flat earther or not? The answer is yes, she is. That is probably the number one question that I get, is asking about Wendy. And so I'm going to be giving a video update about Wendy, just kind of talking about the predictions she made prior to us going, her take on TFE now that we're back, and just kind of giving everybody an update, because that is important. She's the one that got me into this whole thing. Okay. All right. Question for me, which is, when will we get the drone crash video? That's a tough one. I've been thinking about it, and I've actually been thinking about putting it into a video, just the very kind of the end of it. But we'll see. It will come out eventually. All right. Sava has a question for Jiren. Did the result of TFE change your opinion about anything else, like the moon landing?
It just made me more open to obviously realizing that I can be drastically wrong about something, and that there's a certain, I don't know if it's a blocking mechanism or something that your mind does that kind of doesn't allow conflicting information in. So just being aware of that really helps out with everything else. So I think that Dave McKeegan and I are going to do a little series where I'm going to bring some of my moon landing debunk stuff, and then he's going to refute it. And it will be, rather than a debate, more of like a open conversation to see if we can move either of our minds in one direction or the other. So looking forward to that.
That should be fun. That sounds very TFE-esque, which is getting both sides together and seeing who's got the best arguments. Petey has a question for Dave. Is Liverpool going to win the league?
I hope so.
Time will tell. Dave, another question for you, which is, what's your best answer to photos of far objects that we are supposedly not supposed to see?
Usually it comes down to the maths is incorrect where they think it shouldn't be, because they're basing it off 8 inches per mile squared, or sometimes it's atmospheric refraction that doesn't get accounted for. But there's usually more than one reason, but I've never seen one yet that can't be explained.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and piggyback on that one. So the important thing in my mind about the final experiment was that we had predictions by the flat Earth side, which was there is no 24-hour sun. So we came along and said, okay, then let's go test that. So I would encourage the flat Earth community, if they think there's something that can be seen that shouldn't be seen on the globe, get that from the globe community. Get the globe community to actually say you shouldn't be able to see this, because if you don't, you might have it wrong. Okay, you might have it wrong. So MC Toon did something recently where a flat earther was challenging him, saying that they would be able to see each other on like opposite sides of Lake Tahoe. And I don't think MC Toon had ever been to Lake Tahoe, and he agreed that they would go and that they wouldn't be able to see each other. MC Toon went to Lake Tahoe, and the flat earther didn't show up. And what was the result of that?
We could not see the dock on the other side. He was absolutely certain that we'd be able to see the dock, but we couldn't. There was a large amount of obstruction, and we were able to confirm it because there is, on the opposite side, there's a resort that's up the hill. That's the cool thing about Tahoe, is it's surrounded all the way around by hills. So you don't just see sky, you see a reference point on the other side. So we were able to use that resort to know how far down the hill the coast is, or the shore is, and there's a lot missing.
Yes, that's a perfect example. It's a recent one where a flat earther got someone who believes we live on a globe to say, you should not be able to see something. That is something that would be too far to see. Then you go test it. And again, test it together. So, MC Toon invited him. He didn't come, but that's okay. Do those things together. Brenda Creates has a question for you, Mike. We know you anticipated a lot, but what was the most surprising response from the FE community?
The variety of the denials. It wasn't just one flavor of this is the denial. It was, didn't even go. It was, completely somewhere else. Or you did go, but there was the biggest LED screen projection thing ever built in all of history, requiring more power than an actual nuclear power plant, somehow was assembled. Or, of course, the absolute most ridiculous one was that the devil actually turned into the sun.
Yeah, that one takes the cake for sure. Jiren, Albino and M2M have a similar question for you, which is, with everything you have observed, what is the shape of the Earth?
The Earth is a sphere. So pretty easy to say it now. At this point, it took a little while to get there, but it's something that you can figure out on your own. I actually feel ridiculously stupid for ever not seeing it. It's blatantly obvious, and it's, something I've been talking to Austin Thompson about. And, just yesterday he sent me a video where he took the Rob Skiba piece of plastic lens, because we've been talking about, the atmosphere works as a lens, and he set up a globe and he put that piece of plastic between his camera and the globe, put a thumbtack on the far side of the globe that cannot be seen from this side. But with that little piece of plastic, all of a sudden we could see the thumbtack. So it's, something that's, we were just laughing last night, like, that's been under our nose. It's been in my garage the whole time, that piece of plastic, and just could have done that and seen that, it's not that surprising anymore that we can see a little bit further than the globe math would say, because the globe math doesn't include the fact that the atmosphere would work as a lens and actually bend light towards you. So it's just one of those things where I think that, have to reevaluate my ability to look at things objectively, and to not get caught up in the, the kind of atmosphere where you are starting to get told by people that, oh, I believe the same thing as you do, and thank you for doing what you do. And, you brought me back to the creator. Things like that just kind of encourage somebody to start closing their mind to other possibilities. So that's what I've seen, is that probably the most dangerous thing you can do is to dig your feet in and not be open to other possibilities, because it can't hurt you to just listen to other people's take. So
awesome. CS has a question for me. Do you acknowledge that things like the Wi-Fi password and luggage stuff could have been handled more fairly with the flat team. Seems like they were actually sidelined there. All right, so I'm going to have to clear the record here. Unfortunately, Austin Whitsitt has been saying things which are just completely false. So I'm going to go ahead and set the record straight right now. First and foremost, with the luggage, 2 people and 2 people only asked me prior to us going to Antarctica if they could have extra luggage. That was Dave McKeegan and Jonathan Morandi, 1 from each team. They both asked if they could have extra luggage because they are both in the business of shooting photography and film. They both also offered to pay for their extra luggage themselves. So that is it. I didn't have extra luggage. MC Toon didn't have extra luggage. When we got to Chile, I had told everybody that you'd have to take a smaller bag on the plane to Antarctica. And so I had to bring a really big suitcase because of the Starlink. And so I went to ALE and I said, hey, I can't fit this Starlink in this small bag that we have to take to Antarctica. So I was going to be asking permission to take the Starlink on the plane with me and like put it on a seat. And when I did that, they came back and they said, hey, we're going to allow you guys to take extra luggage because there's very few people going on the flight. There was only 10 of us, 10 passengers. And so we can have the weight limit. So we didn't know until we were already in Chile that they said it's okay to take extra luggage. That is the truth. That is not what Austin Whitsitt is telling people. When it comes to the Wi-Fi password.
Can I say something quick on that?
Yeah.
When Kati came to talk to you, I was recording. So I have the moment that you were informed about that on video. And I'll be publishing that as part of my review.
Awesome. Thank you. The Wi-Fi password.
Also say about the luggage, I brought extra luggage myself that I paid for myself. And if they were going to charge to bring it to Antarctica, I was going to pay it because I'm not leaving those bits behind.
Awesome. Thank you. The Wi-Fi password was a little bit of just miscommunication. I originally told everybody that I wanted to make sure we'd be able to do 2 live streams simultaneously, one for Candace Owens and then one for ourselves. And I had no idea what the bandwidth was going to be like. I didn't even know if we could run those 2. So I said, for starters, no one's going to get on the Wi-Fi other than the Candace live stream and then our midnight live stream. And then I said, if you guys want a live stream, come ask me for the password and I'll give it to you and you can live stream, no problem. Again, I've got to push back on Austin Whitsitt because he's complaining about the Wi-Fi password. And as it turns out, he had it from the very beginning. So he had the Wi-Fi password from the very beginning. So when he brings these things up, they're not valid complaints. They're not valid complaints at all. And you won't hear anybody else complaining about it. All right. Question for Jiren. Have you played Kerbal Space Program yet?
No, but it is downloaded. So it's the next step.
Awesome. All right. The Drunk Debunk Show. Another question for Rusty. Have you forgiven Dave yet for leaving for so long?
No.
I guess not.
Real quick, I gotta jump off here in a moment. So just wanted to thank everyone again for the opportunity to be a part of this. And I'm really glad I got to meet all of you and spend time with you. And I'm really excited to see what Morandi and his team put together for the documentary. We've had some conversations about it, and there's some pretty spectacular things that are there. And of course, I was on the trip, so I know some of those moments that were captured are going to be great. So really hope everyone approaches it with an open mind and really just kind of takes it in. I think
thanks, Mark. You're the reason we found Jonathan. So we owe you a lot for that. Really appreciate it.
Just take me to Antarctica on the final experiment, and it'll be okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, Matt.
All right. Brandon has a question for Jonathan. Where is the documentary going to be available to watch?
Good question. We haven't spoken to anyone. I mean, I've spoken to a few friends in the business. People are really interested in it. I don't think it's necessarily going to pan out to what people are expecting, which is what I'm the most excited about. So, I mean, ideally, I'd like to try to find a home for this in a major space. If anything, I'd like to try to find if we can't find a streaming platform or a distributor in that sense, I definitely think film festivals are going to be interested in this. I couldn't see a streaming platform not being interested. There is just a different cultural touch on this that I never saw. And so that's really exciting. In any event, we'll probably pirate it on here, right? I mean, at some point, you'll be able to see it. Don't worry. I'm joking, but yeah, I think we'll find a good place for it for sure, and we'll make some announcements on this channel. We'll definitely drop some trailers sooner than later on that stuff because, like I said, we've already been kind of experimenting with some little teases and just really trying to figure out how the best approach to marketing it will be.
Cool. DP Debunks asks me, was the final experiment about the 24-hour sun, or was the real experiment to get and see the exact reaction we've had from the flat earth community? A lot of people have speculated that it was about the reaction. That is 100% false. The final experiment was only about the 24-hour sun. I did not have the experience in the community to anticipate things like this. I didn't even really know that many people on the globe side, on the debunking side. My friend Wendy, who is a flat earther, she turned me on to Flat Earth Dave and Eric Dubé. So I watched tons of Flat Earth Dave videos, tons of Eric Dubé videos, and that is how I came up with the final experiment, was listening to those two guys who both said there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica ever, and that a 24-hour sun is not possible on a flat earth, and that a 24-hour sun would prove the globe. When I heard that, I knew that's what we got to do. Monkey has
Can I say something about?
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? I was in a live stream some time back with Flat Earth Dave, and we had a great conversation, real cordial. He was going to get me an email, a list of some things. Maybe some of you heard it, but if anybody communicates with him, with Dave, just let him know I'm still looking forward to that, and we're getting close to the end of this thing here with the doc, so sooner than later.
Okay, awesome. Question for Jiren from Monkey Cat Pat. Can you explain how it feels to be an ex-flat earther? Do you feel like you escaped out of a cult?
Yeah, I think I do kind of feel like that, but I also am feeling like I'm partially responsible for some of it. So that makes it a tough situation because while it kind of seems fitting to just kind of, leave and kind of disappear, I feel like I'm responsible for a lot of the people. So I just want to make sure that they have an opportunity to decide for themselves if they want to stay believing something that's untenable, or if they want to get out. I realize that it's not easy, and they're going to see what happened to me, and they're going to say, oh boy, as soon as you leave. Or if you look at Robbie Davidson has just recently stepped away, and he makes a couple posts on Facebook, and people just are ridiculous, vitriolic, like they never cared about you at all. I knew it from day one. I always knew you were a suspect. It's just a kind of a weird thing to see. And so I just hope people recognize that and have a chance to get out if they want.
Thank you. Frodo has a question for me. Would you consider organizing a live stream filming the moon rise simultaneously from north, equator, and south along the same longitude? All right, so Frodo, I'm going to make an admission here that I don't want to make. Okay, I don't consider myself that smart. Okay, so I don't even understand the power or what you're thinking would be so cool about that. But it doesn't mean I'm opposed to it. Send me an email, explain to me so I can understand what you're thinking, and then hey, who knows? Maybe somebody will want to do it. Okay, so this must be a flat earther. They didn't address who they wanted to ask the question to, but I do want to ask their question. Will the real TFE is keep flying south until you pop back up north, but you won't do it because you will land on extra continents because it's flat. Okay, so I do like a challenge, so you better be careful with that one. And I will also tell you that it actually has been done. So anyway, if you could get a list of flat earthers, say 50 flat earthers, to say and admit that that would falsify flat earth and prove the globe, then we can talk. All right. Okay, so that one says the whole team. I'm going to skip it. Another question for me, Will, do you feel like you have accomplished what you wanted when you set your goal for TFE? Is it more successful than you thought it would be? I definitely accomplished my goal. My flat earth friend, Wendy, she has made a video where and it's totally fine. I'm not upset about this, but she shared a private message I sent to her a long time ago. So I sent it to her in October of 2023. And I told her at that time what my goal was with TFE. And that was to get a prominent flat earther to see the truth and convert to the globe, which has happened now with Jiren and others. And so it's way more successful than I thought it would be. When I created it, I had no idea if it would just die and nobody would care. And so, yeah, very, very fortunate and blessed at how things have gone. Bob has a question for Nathan. Where are the guns? I think a lot of people are still waiting for Nathan Oakley to answer that question. To this day, Nathan Oakley says online, to this day, he hasn't removed it, that if you try to go to Antarctica, you will be turned away at gunpoint. All right. Brenda Creates has a question for Critical Think. Tell the truth now. Does temperature affect weight? Wink face.
Temperature does affect weight in such a small amount that it cannot be measured with the scales that I use.
Thank you. This one is not addressed to anybody, but none of your business says, was there a single experiment that didn't conclusively confirm globe predictions? And the answer to that is no. There was around 20 total observations and experiments that were made. And I believe the globe side made predictions for all of those prior to us going, and they all conclusively confirmed globe predictions. So that's a good question. Okay, Santa Claus has a question for me. If you go to the ceremonial South Pole, do you go where they placed it, or do you take a boat, or do you go south? Wrong answer only. I will give a wrong answer, which is you take a boat, and you go in the water, and then you have to go under the water, so you have to get into a submarine, and then go to the center of the Earth, and that's where the ceremonial South Pole is. Anyway, I think that person's asking the question because of my conversation with Flatzoid yesterday, so you guys should probably check that out. I'm going to say it right now because it's super important, which is the ceremonial South Pole, which people take their picture with it. I'm going to say right now, no flat earther can show on a flat Earth map where that pole is. I've been asking flat earthers because I was curious, and I got silence. No one knows. So then I went on Flatzoid and I asked him and his whole crew. And I'm going to say right now, a flat earther cannot say where that ceremonial South Pole is. If you think you can, hit me up in an email. All right. Another question to me, Will, any plans for TFE2 on Blue Origin? I wish. That would be amazing, but no. Let's see here. Okay, sorry, guys. Another question for me. Was Antarctica the most amazing place you have been or seen? If not, then where? Yes, it was. It was incredible. Pictures don't do it justice. Videos don't do it justice. I remember being there and just kind of like staring, and it was like, it's like when you're eating really good food and you just have this really good feeling. You had that from just by looking at the terrain around you. So definitely the most amazing place. If anybody ever has a chance to get to Antarctica, please do it. Question for Jiren. Have you looked at pictures like the Blue Marble and been moved at how beautiful our world really is?
I wouldn't say that as so much as just mentally kind of asking for forgiveness for shitting on part of creation, I guess. But no, I don't really see those yet as being home. Not yet.
Okay.
Eventually.
Jiren, another question for you. Why did you, I don't even know if this is true. Why did you prop up the AE projection map as the flat Earth map when multiple people, including Witsit, had shown you that it is just a projection of the spherical coordinate system?
Because there can be no other flat Earth map. So if you are one of these people that think that somehow there's going to be a magic map that pops out of a genie or something, or a bottle, it's not going to happen. Every map that is flat will have to be the AE map. It will have to have the continents the way that they are. It'll have to have the tropics where they are supposed to be. It'll have the equator where it's supposed to be. So there is no other map. So people are deluded in the fact that they say, well, maybe that map was debunked, but flat Earth isn't debunked. But it's like, no, they're one and the same. There can be no flat Earth that isn't laid out like the AE. So the reason I pushed it is because I was a flat earther and thought that the Earth was flat. So when you have somebody tell you, well, the sun sets this way, or this is an anomaly. If you can kind of explain it away, then you are happy with that. And then eventually it becomes untenable, and just the things that start adding up. And then you find out, I mean, the number one thing is anybody who was a flat earther from the beginning knew that it was dependent on the South being a lie. That was a crutch of the flat earth argument, that because again, just think about it. If the North is the opposite of the South, then the Earth's a sphere. So there was never a question of like, oh, the North could be the exact opposite of the South and it's still flat. Doesn't really work that way. So it was incumbent on the South to be a lie. And there was some, shady evidence. There was hard to find some stuff. It was hard to get a trip down there. It was very expensive. And so we were able to kind of keep up the story that no, we can't go there. And that we didn't think there was a 24-hour sun there, and there wasn't enough footage of it. And then when you go down and see that everything works the exact opposite of the North, that the sun does the exact opposite thing 6 months later, that the lines of longitude get closer together at the South, that the South Pole exists, the South Celestial Pole exists, the sun goes backwards, the moon goes backwards, they're both upside down. These circumpolar stars in the South, once all those things come to light, then you have to reevaluate your position. So that's the strangest thing I've heard from people too, is that I've heard people say, oh, you abandoned your audience, you abandoned your fans or something, which is weird, because what they're saying is that I should have lied, I guess, is how you don't abandon people. Whereas I was just honest about, hey, we were wrong, and it's okay to be wrong, and it's okay to move forward with that new understanding. And that's what you should do, is, take evidence and then reevaluate your position and change it if you need to. But a lot of people think that they can't be possibly wrong. And so they act a certain way towards globers or towards other people that believe in the globe. And then they kind of almost try and mirror their energy, or they, if you try and say, hey, we shouldn't act like that towards globers, like, well, they act like that towards us. And again, I keep emphasizing the difference is that they're right. So that's where it becomes an issue, is that you're being an asshole and you're wrong. And I tell Toon all the time he's an asshole, but he's right. So it's a better position to be in than to be the people running around and being vitriolic and calling people names. And you would be shocked if you saw half of the messages I've seen from people that formerly were right there with you, or were fans of yours or friends of yours. And that's the hardest thing, is to see people that for 10 years hung on every word you said, believed every word you said. And then as soon as you say something that goes against what they believe, then you're a shill, and you've always been that, and you've been an actor for 10 years. So,
thank you. Question for Critical Think from fellow debunker Peter Markley. He said, I made a TFE poster. I eventually want to print it and have TFE crew autograph it. I'm not sure how many I'll try to get, but is that something you'd be interested in?
Yes, we'd be interested in that.
Great. Thank you. Jared asks me, do you expect you'll be posting the Final Experiments video each of the next 11 Mondays? Definitely not. My wife would love it if I would just get those done and be done, but they are taking longer than I had anticipated, but they are worth the wait. So it'll be fun once those are out. Okay, question for Jiren. Do you think Whitsitt will ever come around to the possibility he has been wrong like you have?
Wow, tough question. I think so. Just put it that way.
Okay, great. IC Spin has a question for Critical Think. Who has dealt with the most nonsense since returning?
Sorry, who has dealt with the most nonsense? I'm not sure I understand the question. But anyway, I've seen a lot of nonsense. I don't know who's done the best job of dealing with it, but I wanted to talk about the nonsense about the weight experiment, because I had this debate with Flatzoid about that, and I tell you, I was dealing with a lot of nonsense there. And it's the question I had before about, does temperature affect the weight? And of course, the answer is yes, it does by a little bit. But the weight change from my Brisbane to Union Glacier was 3.8 grams. And whoever thinks that a temperature change can make a difference of 3.8 grams, that is nonsense. And in my personal experience, that's the kind of nonsense I had to deal with, instead of facing the real issue of how can the weight change by 3.8 grams, and how come I was able to predict it exactly. So that's it. Me.
Another question
If-
for you.
if-
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
So I was just going to say, if I may interject and try and answer the question personally, I think that Jiren has had to deal with the most nonsense of people saying that he's a plant and that he's a shill. He was sort of planned from the outset to switch like this. That would mean that he was never really a flat earther. That he's been flipping people into flat Earth for 8 or 9 years in anticipation of us going to Antarctica, for him to now come out and say that he's no longer a flat earther seems a bit counterproductive to me. So I would say Jiren's had to deal with the most nonsense, and he's handled it very well.
Agreed. Another question for Critical Think from M2M. Have you had any flat earthers try to debunk your TFE experiment and data?
So yeah, I did my first debate with Flatzoid about that on the FTFE channel, and yes, Flatzoid's tried to debunk it, but he was full of nonsense. He doesn't understand the experiment, didn't try to understand the experiment. And anyway, I've got in the works, I'm very busy, but I've got in the works a debunk of that debunk, and I've got another experiment planned that's going to knock Flatzoid off his perch, and we'll see in time. It's just a little bit busy right now, but yeah, nobody has debunked it, because really I think the problem is that the flat earthers have trouble understanding it, and they don't have the mathematical background, and they don't have the scientific understanding. They hate me saying this. Flatzoid hates me saying it. They don't understand the science, and so it makes it very difficult to get a handle on exactly what a fantastic experiment that is. It's an amazing experiment.
Awesome. Scott has a question for me. Given the goalpost moving by the flat earthers, well, denial, what do you think the next hill they are willing to die on will be, if any? Tough to say. I do think that it's going to be possible that after we release everything and there just isn't any answers left, that they might go to some sort of a, the world isn't physical, and it's, some sort of a virtual world, virtual reality thing. And that's what they want to do. They can do that, but I've got more important things to deal with. Someone asks me, Duffy, was Oakley only on to plug his merch? I have no idea what that means. Anybody know what that means? Oakley doesn't.
Nathan Thompson.
Oh.
The debate you did with him, I think they're talking about.
Oh, okay. Nathan Thompson. Yeah. No, I don't think so. He did plug his merch, which is fine by me, but he was, the way I didn't know about Nathan Thompson. I never even knew about the duck thing until yesterday. And I heard about it in the debate. I never knew about it. So I feel like Nathan was kind of like before I got into things and kind of disappeared or whatever. And I think he's trying to kind of make a comeback in the flat earth community. And so he really wanted to do a debate, a modern day debate. So that's how that happened. Brandon asks Jiren, would the fact that Americans landed on the moon largely because of their ego convince you it was real? Genuine question, not trolling.
Say it again. I don't think I understood the first part. Go ahead.
He said, would the fact that Americans landed on the moon largely because of their ego convince you it was real?
I don't know how that would particularly convince me it's real. I mean, there's some things that I can't rectify or can't really reason around. So I'm open to hearing people's explanations for that, and then reevaluating from there. But as far as why they went, or if it was just for ego, I think that the strangest thing that I've heard is that a person that I was friends with from Russia was talking about it, and then told me what they learned in school there. And it's that they learned that the Russians were first animal, first orbit, first satellite, first man, first woman, that they were ahead of the Americans in every way, and that they knew there was nothing on the moon. So they didn't try to go, and they let America pretend or think that they were going in some race. And then they spent all this money, went there, and there was nothing to see there. So it's just kind of funny how you see how propaganda works from various countries. Both countries can use that story to boost their own country's pride and prestige. So that's one of the most interesting things I've seen, is that, people always say, well, wouldn't Russia have ratted them out, and wouldn't America have? And maybe not. Maybe they would kind of mutually play off the story and grow their country's prestige and things like that. Or it was just simple that we put a bunch of money towards it because we wanted to show that we could be first. So we'll find out as I go through some of this evidence and see if it can be refuted.
Great. Question for MC Toon. Will there be a video explaining the lighthouse observation and measurement you did in Chile?
Unfortunately, that was one that we could not do. So the lighthouse was about 20 miles away, and the sea is a bit choppy there all the time. So there was always just a lot of haze right on the horizon. So we didn't ever see the lighthouse at all. So I would love to say that's because the curvature of the Earth, but I can't honestly say that. I could not see in the correct direction for the lighthouse. I could not see anything other than just haze.
Great. Question for me. Will the solar eclipse of 2027 be TFE 2.0? No, but it'll just be an epic trip. And if anybody wants to go with me, let me know. I'm going to be leading a trip to Egypt in, I believe it's August of 2027 for the total solar eclipse. That will be the longest duration of a solar eclipse in 100 years. So it's around 7 minutes, and it'll be in Egypt. So we'll get to see Egypt, see the eclipse, swim in the Red Sea, snorkel the Red Sea. So if you want to join us, let me know. Just shoot me an email on that one. Jonathan, question for you. A little personal. Icy Spin wants to know, what color is your real hair?
It's really probably like yours, a little darker, like kind of dark blonde, kind of darker.
All right. Let's see here. Question for Dave. Can you prove you're not CGI?
Nuh-uh.
You are responding live, so that's got to be something. Dave, another question for you from Christoph. Has TFE pushed flat earthers deeper down the rabbit hole?
I think it's possibly caused some of them to dig their heels in, but there definitely seems to have been a lot of people who've come out of the rabbit hole from it and you know, who've been honest enough to try and figure out, how does a 24-hour sun work on a flat earth? Well, it doesn't, so therefore conclusion. I think there's possibly a few who've maybe dug their heels in a lot and tried to. I don't think anyone's gone further down the rabbit hole of the earth must be flat. I think they're just being more stubborn of trying to accept how it could work.
Yeah. Jonathan, Peter Markley would like to know if you also would be open to signing his poster.
You got it.
Awesome.
Send it to me.
All right, thanks. Let's see here. Oh man, this keeps happening. Question for Dave. I lost it. Give me 1 second.
It's a nightmare. I hate that.
Okay. Yeah. It keeps resetting. Cool. Now that Dave, now that you've hosted a live chat, are you going to do more of them? What was your perspective on how it went?
That is the plan. I'd always hoped to do live streams. The thing holding me back was more the soundproofing within this room was awful, so it made a lot of noise and kept everyone up. So the live stream that I did was the first one since making changes to the room. So far, it seems like it worked really well, and I didn't disturb anybody when doing it. So yeah, I'm hoping to do some more moving forward.
Great. Question for me. I like this question. What's your reaction to flat earthers' argument you don't look at the sky to determine the shape of the ground? Here's my answer. That is a new argument that they came up with because of the final experiment that went against what they were doing and saying for almost a decade. So Eric Dubé has a video on his channel called Polaris Proves Flat Earth. Eric Dubé has said that the 24-hour sun in the north proves we live on a flat earth. D. Marble went to Alaska to film the 24-hour sun there. Tons of flat earthers were involved in that, including Nathan Oakley. And because they filmed it and saw it, they seemed to think that meant we live on a flat earth. And the big one is this. If you ask a flat earther if there's a North Pole, they'll say yes. And if you ask them how they know that, they'll say it's because of Polaris. And it's because of the lights in the sky and the star trails that go around Polaris. And so flat earthers understand the relationship of the celestial bodies with the ground. Celestial navigation works. If celestial navigation works, that's telling us the direction to go using the lights in the sky based on the shape of the ground that we live on. So all it is it's a form of obfuscation because they can't explain how a 24-hour sun or a 24-hour moon or a south celestial pole work on a flat Earth. Instead of just facing it head on, they use that argument. So I don't mind it because I do think people who are looking at this objectively and rationally will see that they do not have an answer. None of your business says, is there a tally for how many people change their mind in the light of TFE? No, I've lost count. And I'll never know all of the people, but someone contacted me and said that there was an entire flat Earth group that they were aware of, and the whole group gave up flat Earth because of TFE. There's people that have asked me not to mention their name. So no official tally, but it's a lot for sure. Question for Jiren. Are you going to change your emoji about flat Earth on your channel?
My emoji about flat Earth. What does it say? I don't remember. Yeah, there's still a lot of things to change. I mean, obviously, deciding which videos need to go, which, where was I at the other day? I saw something, my website, I think I was on my website, and it's got a little blurb after the website name, and it said something about flat Earth. I was like, oops, I got to change that. So there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up in due time. So it'll happen over the next couple weeks, months.
Great. Okay. IC Spin has a question for Jonathan. Have you got a network yet for the documentary?
Not yet. We haven't reached out at all.
Okay, no problem. Another question for Jiren. Do you still believe in God?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. God is now here has a question for Jonathan. Do you have a name for the documentary, or would you consider having a contest to come up with one? I do not give you permission to talk about names of the documentary right now, by the way. So go ahead and answer.
Will's very sensitive to names and to music. He's like, I really want to be involved. But yeah, send your email. My email's here. Send your ideas. No, not yet.
Thanks. Will Jiren do an experiment or MC Tune or Dave to test remaining questions he has, like measured flat, etc.?
So for me?
Yeah.
Toon has talked about maybe coming and doing the canal again, which I think would be good to see. He kind of had some improvements to the setup that we have that I think would be beneficial. But as far as that, I don't know if I have too many questions left that we'll be able to determine with testing or experiment. I mean, really, it's just one thing has been falsified. So at that point, for people who don't know, and I keep repeating this, that the sun in the south always sets right to left for everybody in the south, and in the north it sets left to right. So I really do think even flat Earth became such a big thing because we're all in the north. So if you're in the north, you can look at the flat Earth map, you can think about the sun, how it sets, how it moves through the sky, and it makes sense. But if you are down in the south, it is completely and totally untenable. So really, it shouldn't even have gone as far as it did. So I don't really know what other experiments I could do other than maybe repeat ones that we've done in the past. I have talked to John Timmer, who's the head of Ars Technica, the head of science at Ars Technica, and he is talking to PBS. I still think that PBS needs to redo that experiment. So the one that they faked. So he now admits that it does appear to be faked, and so he's working on that to try and get them to do it again.
Amazing. Astronomy Live, great guy, does amazing work, has a question for me. Are you planning to do anything for FRAM-2, a private SpaceX mission to a polar orbit that will fly over Antarctica? I am so excited for FRAM-2. It was supposed to happen in December. It's now being pushed, I think, to March. I am so excited for this. This will take away another argument from flat earthers about pictures of Antarctica from space. They are going to be doing a polar orbit. So they're going to be going over the North Pole and the South Pole many times. Really excited for FRAM-2. My next video will be talking about why the mission is called FRAM-2, which is super fascinating. Another question for me. Would a VHS recording have been better to show the 24-hour sun rather than digital, which is prone to meddling with a normal video cassette recording? I don't think so. I don't even know if that exists anymore. I don't think anything would have been good enough for the flat Earth community as a whole. Question for Critical Think. how is your tug of war coming with Dave Weiss Bitcoins coming along?
Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I don't know so much about tug of war. It's just a lot of work. I mean, there's so much material that Dave Weiss puts out that's blatantly false, but then they will point to it and say, oh, see, this debunks that, but it's just a complete load of rubbish. And my mission at this point in time is to expose the rubbish until that's 100% exposed, and then my claim is done then.
Awesome. MC Toon, when are you creating a Globe Earth app? Will it be as secure as Flat Earth Dave's?
Well, Flat Earth Dave's app has exactly 0 security in it. If anybody wants, they can just go to a URL that's embedded in the app. And in order to get that, all you need to do is download the app and decompile it, which it can all be done for free. Anyway, and then go edit anybody's profile and go and edit. You can basically do whatever you want in the app. Please don't do that to Dave's app, though. I'm going to be giving a presentation at Hack SpaceCon, and when somebody's been messing with it, with Dave's app, it's making it harder for me to do what I'm trying to do. Because like it caused so much trouble that it, like, today and yesterday, like, Dave's app was an absolute shambles, and it might just almost shut it down, which I don't mind, but wait for me. No, I have to say I'm against it, but please, I'm trying to put together my presentation, so don't ruin it yet. I mean, at all.
Don't shut it down yet, please. Wait.
Give me a couple days.
Critical Think. How is Mick doing? Does he believe the Earth is a globe now?
I haven't spoken to him since December. I did have a bit of a chat on the telephone, just for a bit of a chat to Mick, and I guess he was suffering some kind of internal conflict, but he was still a flat earther. He had promised that he would listen if we saw the sun did not set. He had more or less promised that he would listen to the arguments with a more open mind. What I observed seemed to be the opposite effect, and that he also became very aggressive towards me, and he did ask me some questions in email. I sent them back. I haven't tried to ask him or email him for a little while. I just wanted to give him time to settle down, and I guess it was probably a very emotional time for him. And at some stage, I'll talk to Mick again, I hope, and we can have a calm conversation one day. So that's it.
Awesome. Question for me. Has Steve apologized for calling you a liar yet? I don't remember if he actually did call me a liar. Maybe he did. He has not apologized, but I will give Steve some credit. He came out. He was so convinced that Jiren said the sun sets. Jiren telling him to his face that he didn't say that was not enough. So he issued a 1,000 pound challenge. This is Steve from England. For anybody that could prove using software, audio software, that Jiren said something else. And the Globe community came out strong. They proved really beyond the shadow of a doubt that Jiren said since, S-I-N-C-E, not sets. And again, I'm going to give Steve credit. He paid out the 1,000 pounds on that challenge. I do think he has been humbled at this point, losing 2 challenges. And hopefully he will be back on FTFE, Craig McNeil, FTFE, soon to have another talk. And so I'm excited to see what comes of it. MC Toon, what was your favorite nah moment from the Flurf side so far?
Other than claims of fakery, I think my favorite is that's what the flat earth claimed, which hasn't been what flat earth claimed for 160 years, outside of just a couple people who for some reason recognized that they couldn't just deny it and said that the flat Earth predicts it, but nobody actually shows how it predicts it. And when I say that, I mean very specifically, the globe predicted 13 degrees elevation to 34 degrees elevation. Long before we were there, this was stated. Flat Earth didn't predict that. There's no flat Earth model that outputs the angular elevation. There's no flat Earth model that could do the sundial that it did. No flat Earth model does that. And I'll say that there is somebody that claims that there is math for it, but I've seen the program, I've seen the source code. It uses the globe.
All right. Craig has a question for Jiren. Why do you think the other flat earthers were not as honest as you?
I don't think that they weren't honest. I think that they maybe it'll take some time to kind of get through to them. Which it seems to, I just remember him talking and just saying that there's so much wrong with the heliocentric model that he still thinks there's a chance that the Earth is flat. For me, I can forget everything else besides just the shape of the Earth, right? So I just want to get that handled, and then we'll move on to everything else. So people are all coming at me saying, "Oh, so you think we're spinning? We're flying through space? Endless universe and trillions of miles of stars?" And I just say that's not important to the shape of the Earth. The shape of the Earth is a sphere, and then from there, I'll try and add to that knowledge. But I haven't taken the rest into account because it's not important. And saying that, well, what about dark matter, dark energy is not, that's not a refutation of the globe. That's like cutting edge, physics and things that these theoretical guys deal with. It's not important to me. And so it doesn't impact the shape of the Earth just because their theories about what's trillions and trillions of miles away is wrong.
MC Toon, when will you free King's book from captivity? No idea what that means.
I have it with me. So the book that I read on my live stream, and actually John read part of it too. Remember, John? That book,
I remember.
The book on gravity. It belonged.
Yeah.
King Crew won it in a live stream, and I need to ship it to him. And I've actually met him in person since he won it, but I didn't have it with me. But I brought it on this trip. I brought it when I went to Antarctica. I was in Miami twice with the book where he lives, but we just couldn't connect. So I still have it someday.
Another question for you. What was the name of the flat earther that did not show up for your experiment at Lake Tahoe?
That would be Jack Cushman Harrer. It's not his real name. So yeah, it's very not wise for not showing up. And now he's trying to say that I changed the move the goalpost or something. Of course he did. He wanted to do it morning, noon, and night, and now he's like not morning, noon, and afternoon. And now he wants to do it at night. Well, that's a complete new time frame, and he's on Facebook just constantly yapping about it. And I'm like, well, write up the contract. Just write up the contract and let's have a look. But he won't.
Question for me from the Drunk Debunk show. A little off topic, but how did it feel to make Flatzoid run away on his own show? Not sure I did that. He said he had a power outage, which I don't have reason to doubt. I'll give everybody the story behind it because these things are not planned. I was literally working on the next video in the final experiment series, and it's on the South Pole. And I just got a notification on my phone that Flatzoid was going live. And I thought, hey, I'll just go in and ask Flatzoid if he knows where the ceremonial South Pole is on a flat Earth. And so I just put a question in the chat and I just said, I have a question for Flatzoid. And he jumped on it and said, oh, Will, I'll send you the link, get in here, hop in here. And so I hopped in and we had an interesting conversation that I did enjoy. Santa Claus asks me, is the ceremonial South Pole south of the North Pole where they placed it, or somewhere or someplace where you can fly or take a boat? It is south of the North Pole for sure, and you can fly there. Jiren, how do you feel? Oh, I just lost it. No. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
It's okay.
It does this to you too, right?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Okay, Jiren, how do you feel about other prominent flat earthers who outright deny or now say the 24-hour sun doesn't matter?
Yeah, I mean, it's just should be seen for what it is. It's evidence, and they are refusing to acknowledge it. So that's not allowed anywhere else in life, that you're just able to outright deny evidence and just say, "I know it's evidence, but it doesn't matter." So it should tell you something. And it's because it seems to me that they would know the implications of what that observation means. So, and I think that more and more people will realize it coming soon. It's like a something that takes time to crack, right? So very, very rare would somebody just see it. And maybe that's how people think that happened to me. But I had already gone into the experiment and I was talking about it for months ahead of time, right? Saying what that meant because I recognized what it meant. So a lot of other people hadn't gone to that point yet. Now maybe they're at that point. So in another 6 months, I think we'll be surprised with how many people are actually still giving talking points, because they're going to come to the conclusion eventually that there is no map. And if there's no map, there's no model. And if there's no model, then there's no predictions. And if there's no predictions, then it's as good as believing in Narnia.
Bob asks me, why not monetize the channel? Do you hate money? I made a decision before I even started this thing that I would not monetize the channel. And the reason I did that, the main reason, was that I didn't want flat earthers to dismiss this as just a money grab. There had also been some money raised in the past for Antarctica related experiment type things that was lost because of scams. And I just wanted to erase all of that. So I have no plans on monetizing the channel. Question for Dave. Would you be interested in calculating the distance to the moon via parallax by taking simultaneous photos with someone on the other side of the globe?
Yeah, I mean, we actually tried to do that in Chile. Bert, the guy who was helping Lisbeth out with a lot of stuff, contacted me and asked if I'd do some photos of the moon whilst when we were back in Punta Arenas. And we tried. Unfortunately, the weather where he was turned bad, so he couldn't do it. But yeah, I'd certainly give it a go. I mean, trying to see the moon in the UK is a bit of a pain because the clouds tend to roll in, but it's something I'd definitely be up for trying.
Awesome. Someone asked me what happened to Flatzoid's formal invitation. It's still there. It's in the same place it's been for about a year now. So the real question to ask is, where is Flatzoid's definition of formal invitation? That is missing. CT, you are amazing. I loved your interaction with Flatzoid. I could feel your frustration like you were talking to a child. How did you keep your cool so well?
No, that's an interesting question. I mean, I don't normally, for a long time, I was a person who never kept my cool. And as you get older, you get a little bit more intolerant, actually. You know, they talk about grumpy old men. Well, I sort of like a bit like that. But in this sort of sphere, I think it's important to maintain composure. Not to get too far into the realm of getting nasty and stuff like that. And so I think it's more important, the argument is more important than the emotion that you attach to it. So that's what I try to achieve.
Awesome. Jiren, props to you for being a stand-up guy. I was confident that you would be. After all the fallout, what do you think it will take to convince other serious flat earth believers to accept the globe?
I think it's size matters. Let's just put it that way. And I think that it's something I've noticed that flat earthers can't, for some reason, process or understand. The guy who did Toon, I don't remember the guy that did the debate. I forgot his name right now. He did the debate on the ice rink, whether the ice rink was flat or not. What was the guy's name? Q-Balla, remember him?
Yeah, Q-Balla or Kevin.
Kevin, yeah. So he was talking to me yesterday in the chat and was, telling me to show him curved buildings. And as I kept trying to explain to him that for every 660 feet, there's only 1/8 inch of curvature. So I said, there is no building that's 660 feet long that would not just conform to the shape of the earth with gravity or something. And they just can't grab it. They're just like, no, you're a joke. You can't have flat items. You can't have straight items on a curved earth. And the truth is that you can, when the earth is so big, 24,000 miles, that there actually is effectively no curvature that we ever have to even deal with, which I think is pretty crazy, pretty amazing that we don't have to even worry about it because on a local scale, it will always be flat. So I think because what's the two biggest arguments from flat earthers? That we see too far, that the Earth's measured flat below our feet and water finds its level. Well, two of those are already globe proof or globe evidence, that they also say it's flat beneath our feet. And they also say the other. So it just comes down to the last one of why do we see too far? And now that you realize, and everybody did buy into the fact of, oh, the atmosphere works as a lens, right? It's how they explain sunrise and sunset. And it's how they explain light underneath the clouds. Well, now using that same device, that's just a piece of plastic magnifier, you can see around the curvature of the Earth. So now again, they can't accept that because that means that we can see, that's why we see too far. So then they just have to make up something different. And it's just always this back and forth rather than look for the most compelling, complete picture or the thing that, gives us the best. That's what really science should be, right? What claim better matches reality? And in this case, it's no question anymore.
Jonathan, this is a confusing one. If the Earth is demonstrated to be a horizontal level plane terrestrially, then doesn't that mean all celestial phenomena would have to work on a flat Earth?
One more time?
Yeah, if the Earth is demonstrated to be a horizontal level plane terrestrially, then doesn't that mean all celestial phenomena would have to work on a flat Earth?
I don't know that I could say yes. I don't know that I'm the most qualified for that one. I mean, you're basically trying to say that our location would have been a possibility to see the sun circle us, which I'm trying to figure. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a tough one. We can move on. Jiren, mad respect for you, man. Be excellent. Since I have to ask a question, what's your favorite instant noodles flavor and why is it Apollo, the sun god?
Just because of that reason, I guess. It's all they had. Maybe they did. I can't say that. I don't even know what else they had there in that bucket, in that Tupperware. Just happened to be the one I picked out. I don't usually eat that stuff. So,
Dave, where did you get the Antarctica shaped stamp in your passport? Flatzoid is still confused.
There's a lot that seems to be confusing Flatzoid at the moment, to be fair. In the library tent, they set out a champagne reception thing for us on the last full night that we were at camp, and they had a commemorative stamp section in the library there that the staff said, if you want, you can get your passport stamped. They have commemorative stamps for all sorts of places all over the world. Antarctica is one of them. So it's not like they had a security guard in a little hut when we arrived that they had to stamp us into Antarctica and back out. It was purely optional. That's why I've got one. That's why some people have got them and some people don't.
All right.
who else didn't get one? Was it? I think it's just Toon and I or somebody else.
Got one.
So it's just us. Yeah.
All right, Roger has a question for me. How come you can't go to the South Pole from Australia? There's an answer for that, which I will give, but you need to first tell me why you think it is you can't go to the South Pole from Australia. And the question is directly, and there is a very easy answer for that. Okay, question for Will. How about TFE 2.0? Get with Jared Isaacman and take a group of flat Earth and globe Earth advocates into orbit. I am not opposed to that. I'm not paying for it, but I'm not opposed to it. So if that comes around, then we'll see what happens. Swala asks if anyone took a 360-degree video in Punta Arenas. I did not, I don't think.
I think I grabbed some. Yeah, I think I had my 360 running for the sunrise.
I think Mark did.
Yeah, Mark dropped off. He had a 360. Dave had a 360. I had two 360s. So we for sure have that one that Dave used of the sunrise.
I recorded. In fact, I think when we were walking up to ALE's office, I had the camera stuck to my backpack on the tripod, so I recorded the walk up to the office. But when we got there, they then said that the camera needed switching off. So.
Jiren, I'm going to answer this next question for you because they're not listening. Ether Cosmology says, Jiren, you believe the moon landing now? This is a joke, right? Go listen harder. Jiren didn't say that. Let's see here. Okay, question for Jonathan. Will you make known in the documentary that TFE offered the exact same Antarctica trip to both Flat Earth and Globe Defenders, thus exposing how many flat earthers declined the free trip?
Well, I mean, that's definitely a part of the story. The story is who we are, where we're going, how we became involved, who, what, when, where, why. So yeah, I think that's very significant. At the moment, yeah, we do explore that a little bit. It's not like a list, but you're giving me some ideas.
Dave, if TFE 2.0 is set up as an orbital flight with Jared Isaacman a la Inspiration 4 Polaris Dawn, would you go? And more importantly, would Rusty allow it?
I would certainly want to go. Rusty might not want me to go, but I think my bigger problem would be whether my missus would let me, to be fair. And I suspect that I know the answer without even asking.
The next question is for you as well. What does Rusty think the shape of the Earth is?
Well, he's more interested in chasing balls than frisbees when he goes for a walk. That's all I'm going to say.
So that's both a ball and a flat disc. Okay. Jiren, do you plan on taking any more TFE trips or a trip to record any clips?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'm open to anything that helps me learn and something I can share with people. Absolutely.
Awesome. Someone says, Will would have loved to use VHS, but the technology was destroyed. Wink face. I do think that NASA comment is not understood and a bit taken out of context, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. Jared says, for me, did you hear that Steve from England has promised a part 2 video to come out this week? I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I got so much on my plate. If you guys hear anything that you think is interesting, please hit me up with that. Email is best. Question 4. Let's see here. So someone asked a question for Flatzoid. Where's the South Pole and what direction do I go to get there and on which map? It's a good one. Someone jokes, I hope you had an official invitation to join Flatzoid on his stream, Will. I did. MC Toon, did you chip any ice off the big ice wall for your celebratory drinks when the sun didn't set?
Well, when we flew in, there was no ice wall, but in Punta Arenas, they the day before we went, they had they showed us a little video and stuff, and they had drinks there, and they had ice that they brought from Antarctica that was chunks of ice to put in our drinks. So I guess kind of.
That's right. Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Okay, I'm skipping some silly questions. Jonathan, what are you drinking?
A Negroni.
Okay, great.
I got
Icy Spin thanks me for giving us content for the next decade and for having the wherewithal to do what I set out to do. Absolutely. Question for MC Toon and or Dave. Who put the sleeping pills in Critical Think's drink during your time in Antarctica?
I know nothing.
I couldn't find them. I kept losing them.
Yeah.
I don't think people realized the significant time change where we were compared to Australia, which is on the other side of the globe. That was not easy by any stretch. Question for Jiren. Am I wrong or have you become a debunker now?
I guess for right now, I'm trying to get some points across to people, and the arguments are such that it's easy for me. But no, I don't have desire to do that or to really, go much in that direction. I think that I still have other things I want to do, but that's not one of them.
Okay. Question for Dave. What do you think the likelihood is of having space travel for the public, and would you consider it?
I think there'll be space travel for the public. When, though, I don't know. I think it'll be very much like commercial flights are. When planes first started flying, only the very few could use them, and nowadays we just take them for granted. I think space flight will go the same route, but we might not have the opportunity to take that. But if the opportunity ever arises and I can afford to do it, I would jump at the opportunity.
Jonathan, someone says you need to check the NORB theory, NORB, to understand the confusing question earlier. So I guess you could add that to your list. Question for Jiren. Do you now think there are satellites high enough above the Earth to capture a full disk of the Earth?
There should be, yes.
Okay. Max from Matters Now asked me a question about doing an interview. Hit me up again via email, please. That would be great. Okay, Jiren, with your new sense of openness to evidence previously discounted, are you reconsidering the presence of astronauts on the ISS?
Yeah, I've reconsidered it. I still have issues with it, but I know there's some kind of good news, possibly that somebody out there, I won't say their name, but they know somebody who knows Don Pettit, and supposedly they're going to talk to him and see, because he's on the ISS until April. And so I've kind of been asked, what would I ask him in a public live interview? And I've kind of explained what I would do. So we'll see where that goes. Okay,
great. Another question for Nathan Oakley. Where are the guns, Nathan? So I want to get that out there. Okay. Okay, this is hilarious. Okay. Question for Jiren. Sets, you are in California. Where does the sun sense?
Hilarious. I'm in the north, so that's left to right.
I do appreciate the humor. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you for all the questions. I hope everyone enjoyed this. I think it was really good to get us all back together, let everyone know what we're working on, and just give you an opportunity to, get access to us directly and just kind of see what's happening. And there's still a lot to talk about, and I think there'll be a lot to talk about for a very long time. So anyway, thanks everybody for being here, and we'll all talk to you later. So have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Take care, everyone.